TGIF, how you guys doing? Thank you all for joining me. Kind of flying by the seat of my pants so far in my second week of full-time content creation. So I appreciate you guys joining me. Let me get my stuff set up. Um, get my live chat popped out. Appreciate all you guys supporting me through the memberships, and if you guys are patrons as well, I really appreciate you guys. Like I said, I need you guys, and you guys always show up for me. So I'm very thankful. I'm very blessed by God because of you guys. That's how God blesses people, is through people. That's the best way he can do it, is because it can be a blessing upon the people and it can be a blessing upon us as well. Yeah, so this is cool. Wait a minute. Are we this is supposed to be members only. Is this not members only? Sorry if I'm gonna boot some people because I thought this is supposed to, yeah, it's supposed to be members. Members only. I apologize, but yeah, that's how I advertised it. So sorry if you guys might have got booted. Maybe if you're already in here, maybe you'll still be able to watch. But yeah, so this has been a crazy week. Obviously, we're continuing that crazy week with the news that Charlie Kirk's assassin has been apprehended. And I think that if you're like me, we knew that when they didn't catch somebody like right away, and even if they did, that it was going to likely be a patsy. And that's how I titled this, as Lee Harvey Oswald 2.0 was 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 apprehended today, and or maybe it was yesterday, but it was interesting, the timing of it. The timing of it when you go to this. Let's check out this article here. So this is suspect in custody in connection with the Charlie Kirk assassination. Full recap, and it says authorities have a suspect in custody believed to have fatally shot right-wing commentator Charlie Kirk. Tyler Robinson, 22, was arrested at 10 p.m. on Thursday after allegedly confessing to the crime to his family members, who told a family friend that informed the local sheriff's office. Robinson was apprehended after a 33-hour manhunt following the shocking assassination of Kirk while he spoke at an event on the campus of Utah Valley State University, or Utah Valley University, put together by his organization Turning Point. Two people were briefly apprehended soon after the shooting on September 10th, but were quickly released without charges. President Trump said President Trump, however, said on Fox News Morning that the authorities have a high degree of certainty regarding Robinson's alleged involvement. But I mean, come on, guys. Come on, guys. This guy was apprehended 33 hours afterwards. And it was interesting. Kash Patel, the FBI director, said it was a 36-hour manhunt, but it was actually, specifically, it was 33 hours. It's kind of weird to say 36. So, of course, if you get into like the numerology of it, 3 6, 3 sixes, but it was actually 33 hours. And of course, I don't have to tell you guys are probably well informed about the 33 connection to Freemasonry, the 33 levels. A third of the angels fell. Like, what are the odds? What are the odds? I mean, I just said, of course, I said on Twitter, I said that Lee Harvey Oswald was apprehended 33 hours, in quotes, 33 hours. And I was just like, these demons are shameless. These demons are shameless. It's like, I was already saying this. And if you guys are on Patreon, I got back from Florida actually early Thursday morning. I got back into Norfolk International Airport at like 12:30 at night. So I didn't get home till like 1. And it's been kind of a whirlwind for me. And before that, I recorded JT's mixtape with To Thy Heart. Demon Erasers was still in Florida, so I had to record without him. But so we discussed the Charlie Kirk thing. Probably about good 45 minutes, 50 minutes worth of the show was dedicated to that. And I almost did a live stream yesterday, but I kind of felt weird about it. I just felt like I don't want to content mine like this tragedy. I know lots of people are doing that, and I know that if you have that mindset of like you're a content creator and you have a decent sized reach, you post a video about that, and especially the hottest takes, probably the worst takes, likely can go viral. But trying to profit off this, and I don't know, it's just to me, it's kind of it's morbid. It's not something that I really want to do. It's not even something I necessarily want to talk about, but it's something that probably needs to be discussed. So like obviously that's why I'm here, and I'm sure you guys want to hear what I think about it. But for one, let's just address a few things. I think it was real. I know lots of people who are in the conspiracy sphere. They consider themselves truthers. I don't think everybody who likes conspiracies is a truther necessarily. I think that there's a lot of cynical people who, as soon as they see something, they already know that it's fake. So the confirmation bias is confirmed when they go out. They've already got their conclusion set out. So this is fake. So I'm going to prove that it's fake. But obviously, you bias your investigation when you've already come up with your conclusion before you actually even looked into it. And so I was just sickened by it. I mean, I I discussed this on the podcast from last night. This was wild for me. And of course, I don't want to make this all about me, but so this is my second week doing full-time content creation, and I had this opportunity to go I got an opportunity to go do a podcast in Miami. And then while I was down there, I had a connection with like Elijah Schaefer from Rift TV. So I reached out to him and I said, "Hey, I'm going to be in South Florida. You should have me on your show." And so I was thrilled when he said, "Yeah, yeah, that absolutely. Let's do that." So Monday, I did the podcast that I originally intended to do. I was going to stay Monday, Tuesday night, and then I was flying back late on Wednesday. And so I set up this podcast with Rift TV and Elijah Schaefer for Tuesday morning. And because I kind of wanted my Wednesday kind of free, so I could have like a low pressure day of just like being able to sightsee in Miami, and then eventually just get on my flight and not have any kind of like things I had to do. But it didn't work out. For whatever reason, I went to their studio. They had all kinds of issues, technical issues. They had stuff being delivered. And so I was supposed to do it at 10:30 in the morning. It got pushed back. Then they were getting some kind of desk delivered. And then they said, "Hey, we're going to get this desk delivered, but we're going to get it installed, and it should take like 30 minutes. So we'll be able to put you on probably 3:30, something like that." Well, we got there at 3 or before 3. Didn't work out. But we had a conversation with Elijah and this crew, Mike Hennessy of Snowflake News, and a few other guys there, and they were great dudes and they were really hospitable. But it didn't work out. So we said, "Hey, listen, Brian's got a podcast to record in Fort Lauderdale." So I had to take him there. He had to be there at 4:30. Anyways, long story short, it didn't work out. So they said, "Hey, how about Wednesday at 3?" And I said, "Okay, cool." Well, so it just turns out that me and Brian drive from Miami to Boca Raton, where's their studio's at, and we don't have the radio on. And of course, I'm driving. Brian's not messing with his phone. We're just chit chatting the whole way. So as soon as we get there, it's like 2:45 Eastern. We hear, as soon as we walk in the door, "Did you guys hear that Charlie Kirk got shot?" And we're like, "No, no." And I was just like, I kind of just felt like, whoa, that's pretty crazy. And so we had this plan of like what we were going to talk about on the show. I think we're probably going to talk about general politics stuff because that show's a lot more political than my stuff. But when we got there, we hear this news. And of course, we were actually going to pre-record and then they were going to release it later. So like the first hour is going to be stuff they wanted to talk about. And then they were going to interview me about the mud flood and maybe the little season. Who knows? Long story short, we didn't do that because this news was breaking like right then. And so we're sitting back there. I'm sitting like back there and like in the green room or whatever, and I'm talking with the staff and stuff, and as we're seeing this news unravel, we see the first video of Charlie Kirk getting shot, kind of like the far zoomed out one, not the close up. And then, but like kind of very shortly, right before I was about to go out there, we see like the close angle. And man, when I watched that, I was just so sick to my stomach. And and I'll be perfectly honest, this is a bigger show than I've really done. I mean, I've done pretty big shows, but going live and like sitting like on a set with like in a real professional studio, I was a little nervous anyways, because I mean, if you guys have seen Elijah Schaefer, he's funny, but he's a little bit edgy. He's a lot edgy. He's edgy and he's a big personality. And I had done something with him before and he never released it. So I was kind of like I was nervous about doing the show altogether because I don't know exactly how he was going to feel about the stuff that I talk about. I mean, I know he was going to have me on because like we don't have a close relationship, just put it that way. So I was kind of like I understand that I'm not necessarily speaking to an audience that's going to just eat up everything I say with a spoon. I was going to have some skeptical people. But when this thing happened, this tragedy happened, then they said, "Hey, we're actually going to go live right now, and we're going to do this." And so I'm getting on this set, and I was already nervous, and then just like it was kind of like a gut punch, like going out on the set, and like man, I was really nervous because I was like, "What am I going to say?" It's like I'm still trying. I didn't have any time to like process this, and when I saw the close up shot of it, I was like, he's dead. I mean, there's no. I mean, I hope that I'm wrong, but I don't think that I am. We saw that, and I was like, this is heavy. This is really heavy news. And I mean, I'm just saying from my perspective, I was just like, I believed it was real. And then so yesterday, when I kind of went through like all the hot takes and I saw the video and the anomalies in the video, like the ring thing, like the spot on his shirt, the kind of like the shirt goes up and all that kind of stuff. And I mean, first of all, I believed it was real. And now, full disclosure, I believe the Trump thing was real at first too. Now, I believe that the Trump shooting, the ear thing, I think that was fake. Now, I thought specifically, I knew like it was fake when you had the guy who took the picture, the famous bullet shot that was zigging by his head, was the same camera guy that took the picture of George W. Bush when when he was told the news, when he was sitting in the children's classroom, when he was told about the plane hitting the World Trade Center. So the same guy got both those shots. And me and Brian, of course, just knowing kind of how I know a little bit about cameras now, but I knew that like you would have to have a very specific camera. You'd have to have a very specific setting to be able to capture a bullet in mid-flight. I mean, you're talking about a bullet that goes 3,000 feet per second. So it's like, what are the odds that this person would have had the camera setting perfect to be able to get, for one, just to even get a clear view of a bullet. But not only that, he would have had to take the picture, obviously, right at the exact right sign, right time. And so, yeah, I was like, when me and Brian were talking about that, we were like, yeah, I don't believe that. I just can't believe that. And now that you see like that, where's the evidence that he ever got shot? I mean, like, I mean, again, I don't know a lot about this. And that's why yesterday I reached out to a friend. I met a friend through social media. And let's just say this guy, I'm not going to name him, but this guy is an expert, like on marksmanship. He's worked in law enforcement. He's worked in like with three-letter agencies. He's trained people in three-letter agencies about shootings and about, I guess, setting a perimeter for protection and security and all this stuff. This is I asked him, like, so I asked him, I said, because at first I saw the one video and it looked like when it was slowed down, it almost looked like I've heard people say that Charlie Kirk was wearing like a bulletproof vest, and it almost looked like maybe the bullet had hit here and bounced up and got him in the neck. But I asked my source, and he talked to me for like an hour and a half, and he told me all the details and all the things about the guns, and kind of like what he would do for perimeters for like to protect against snipers and all the things. And he told me that, well, my first question was that was that a real shooting? Did what we witnessed, was that actually what we thought we saw? And he said 100% that was real. And so he, and full disclosure, this guy actually believes in the little season. He's one of us. He believes in biblical cosmology. He believes all the same things we do. So he also said that the Trump thing, totally fake. He said that was Fugazi. He said that was not real. He was saying that with the kind of round it would have taken, and he was saying that just based on kind of like when you saw the Kirk thing, like the impact of the bullet, and it has like this recoil, and it's got like almost like a wave, like almost an explosive wave goes out before you even see like before you even saw like the blood and everything. There's this just thing where like your shirt would move, your body would move because the bullet is so powerful. He was saying that when you see a shooting on TV in a movie, it's that's not that. I mean, it's a movie. It's not real. So if you expect the shooting, when you expect a bullet to hit flesh like that, it doesn't react like it does in the movies. And he was saying, again, because I'm not going to name his name, he was saying that he shot people. He's saying that that's how it works. He said he shot people. He's seen many people shot. He's worked in a area where that happens. And so he was even trying to tell me that he had trained people, and he actually have to show people like pictures and videos of people actually taking bullets to, I guess, to brace them for when it actually happens in real life. Because he's saying like he can't have people who are going into these dangerous situations to be shocked or surprised what happens when somebody gets shot or somebody gets stabbed. So this guy has no reason to blow smoke. He was like, yeah, that's absolutely real. And again, I know when I say that he's got experience with the three-letter agencies, I know people would say, oh, maybe he's lying to JT. I believe him. I'll just say that I believe him. And I think that it was absolutely a real event. It was a real event. And I think that with that many people around, I think that, yeah, I mean, there would be a lot more people to be able to prove that it was not legitimate. Now, if Charlie Kirk at the beginning of the news was that he had got hit and he was in stable but critical condition. Now, if he made some miraculous recovery and he kind of like Trump, and he came back like within a certain amount of time and he was fine, and he was back on campuses talking about stuff, and then maybe he wasn't talking about Israel and stuff anymore. At that point, I would have said, yeah, that was fake. Yeah, that was not real. Because yeah, when you saw the video, you were like, he's dead. So if he was not dead, then I would probably be more likely to believe that, yeah, it was not a real event. But so anyways, all that being said, that was tough, man. And I really just, I'm sickened by, and I'm not saying if anybody, you guys were skeptical of it at first, that's fine. I think it's okay to be skeptical. I mean, I think that we need to trust but verify kind of a situation. But the thing that really sickened me is that so many people are so quick to have a reaction, and they're so quick to say it's fake, and they're so quick to try to say that everything is theater and all that kind of stuff. And I'm not saying it wasn't theory in a certain way. What I'm saying is that we believe that these elites, the people likely behind this, they're not beyond sacrificing people. And I think that's what this was. I mean, for the very least of it is that the fact that Charlie Kirk was killed in a way that we would all see it. all of us would see it. And I mean, I feel like that's part of just like trying to traumatize us. And then it really felt like this is like energy harvesting from us. Because I think when you're a Christian and I mean, I'm not saying I'm better than anyone. I'm saying that my initial reaction to that was just a very human reaction. It's This was a man, and whether I agreed with him on everything or not, I don't care who it was. Seeing that, like, in a way like that, I mean, it's not something that I want to see. I do not want to see somebody take a bullet to the neck. And especially when you found out later that he died, it's like, I remember back in the day, they had those Faces of Death, DVDs or VHS tapes. And I thought that's the sickest thing you could possibly do is to watch a compilation of people being killed. And it's not something that I don't think it's something we're meant to see. But somebody wanted us all to see it. And most of us did. Most of us probably unintentionally. So to me, it was like I was kind of ready to throw up after I saw that. Because yeah, I have had a lot of disagreements with Charlie Kirk, and I don't say that in the way that I know him enough to actually have talked to him. But the sad part about it is like the people in this audience and myself, we probably agreed with Charlie Kirk about 9 out of 10 times. I was really in disagreement with him about like Zionism and some of his political takes I thought were milk toast and soft. And I thought that because I'm further right than he is, and lots of us are, where lots of us are further right than Charlie Kirk. I was just, I don't know, man. I was just sad to see somebody like him who he claimed to be a believer, and I have no reason to doubt that he was genuine. He was really strong about his faith. And whether we disagree about theology or if he was a dispensationalist or something like that. I mean, there's lots of dispensationalists that I believe are absolutely Christian, but I don't agree with them on everything. I saw like some clips from him later, and they were asking him like, how would you want to be remembered if you died? And he was kind of like taken back, like, if I died. And he's like, first and foremost, I'd want to be remembered for my faith in Jesus. And I was like, yeah. And I was like, oh man, I feel like that if your first reaction is to call it fake, I don't know, maybe you need to be introspective, because my first reaction was, man, this guy did not deserve this. This guy was a father. This guy was a Christian. And my heart just like sank, you know? And yeah, you see the pictures of his little children. He's got like his youngest was like 1, his beautiful family and stuff. And I believe they were there. And I don't know how people can just be so callous where they can just say, "Oh, that was all fake and this is that." And if Charlie Kirk, somebody takes a picture of him and he's on some island somewhere, he's sipping cocktails and he's in like witness protection or something, then I'll say, "You know what? I was wrong." Just like I said, I was wrong about the Trump thing right away, and I got called out on that, and like I can admit that I was wrong. But I don't want to be so cynical that I think everything is fake. Because what I was saying on the podcast last night, which again is on Patreon if you guys want to check that out. Um, that'll be out Monday. What I was saying on there was that I'm still conspiratorial, which was interesting. So I was on Rift TV, and I'm kind of was, I'm kind of the fringe conspiracy theorist. So a couple of times Elijah Schaffer was kind of setting me up to have like a hot take. And I was just like, I'm not I'm not going there, not today. I'm not going there tomorrow. Maybe when the dust settles and I can be a little bit more I can have more facts. I can have more facts available to me, and then I can get a bigger picture of this, because I'm not going to immediately jump to so and so did it. This is what happened. I don't know all the details. I mean, literally, I'm just saying, like, I just literally just saw it and then I walked out there. So at first we're told that some old boomer did it, and he was saying, what was he jumping around saying, shoot me, shoot me? And then there was somebody else who got apprehended too, which allowed the shooter to get away. And then again, they caught him 33 hours later. But I mean, so it's all these moving parts, and it was confusing, and you could imagine it would be with such chaos and bedlam. But I think it's very suspicious that who are these other patsies who kind of took the fall for it right away? Yeah, so I mean, I do feel like that as a Christian and as somebody who is a father and a husband and a podcaster, which I mean, that's what Charlie Kirk was. He's a podcaster. It blows me away that somebody could be killed in that way in a place like Utah in front of probably a mostly friendly crowd. And your first reaction is like just complete blankness. Like, oh, this is fake, blah, 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 that everything's fake. My first reaction is, man, I'm sick. I'm sick to my stomach. And it's all about like humanity. It's like, where's your humanity in this? Because yeah, like could something like this have been faked? Yes, it could have been. I don't think that it was, but I also don't think that if it was a false flag, that means it was a fake event. Because there's lots of people that talk about false flags, and of course, it was interesting the timing of it too. It was September 10th, and we're not even going to get into September 11th. But if you believe, but you guys put the pieces together. But if you believe in false flags, it doesn't mean it didn't come with real tragedy. It didn't mean it didn't come with real loss of life. The false flag aspect of it is the fact that there was a real tragedy, and then it's likely who's going to get the blame for it. Now, of course, it's going to be blamed at this 22-year-old kid, which I think a 22-year-old at my elderly age now, as I'm getting older. I'm going to be 47 next week. At that age, I see this person was like a kid, and he's got like anti-fascist stuff like scrawled on the bullets and everything. So they wanted us immediately to be like, this is a right versus left issue. Charlie Kirk is mainstream Republicans conservative. And then who's going to take him out? Left wing progressive Democrat. And then so they want us to fight. They want us to be afraid. They want us to be angry with each other. But I think that people in this audience know that there's something deeper going on here. This is much bigger than that, because this 22-year-old kid did not have two patsies to distract the authorities from apprehending him right away. So how in the world did they arrest two people in the crowd and think it was them, only to let somebody get away? That 22-year-old kid would not have that kind of access. And then there's the anomalies, like there was some private plane left who turned off its transponder like shortly after it happened. That's weird. That's really weird. I don't know. I mean, we talked a lot about possibly what could have been the motive for somebody. And it is really interesting that Charlie Kirk, who was major Zionist, had recently starting to walk some of that stuff back. He was starting to notice things. Or more specifically, what it seemed like to me was that Charlie Kirk had been, I don't know, the best way to say it would be that Charlie Kirk likely had a lot of funding from major Zionists. And you think about it, one thing I was really surprised about Charlie Kirk was that he was only 31 years old. And it's like, I'm old enough to know that, as I thought, Charlie Kirk has been around forever. So being 31 years old, it's like he was still really young. He's still coming along to some of these conclusions. And it's like, I mean, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt now. And of course, it's easier to do that when he's dead. And I feel bad now, probably making fun of him while he was alive now. But what if major backers of his were supporting him. They have the Zionist thing. Charlie Kirk is likely raised as a dispensationalist, so he believes in that 1948 Israel stuff, and he believes you got to support Israel no matter what. But then more recently, what he's seeing is that it's getting harder to defend. And I think what's interesting was, so when he had Tucker Carlson and Dave Smith at a Turning Point event, and as soon as he starts to do that, he gets called anti-Semitic. He gets called a bad person. And so there's really interesting. So he had an interview with Megyn Kelly, and Megyn Kelly and him are just like, it's like he can't believe that out of all the things he's done, and he kissed the wall, he did the Wailing Wall thing. He says he was celebrating the Sabbath, the Shabbat, and he was like, so all the things he's done did not matter, because as soon as he questioned Israel at all, or even platformed somebody at one of his events, gave a debate, he was going to be called a bad person, a racist, an anti-Semite. And you could see it, you could see it in his face of he couldn't really believe it. And I think that when they started to turn on him, he started to maybe, again, this is me speculating. When he started to turn on them, not even really he didn't really turn on them. He just literally had to start questioning it, because I think that the amount of evidence of the atrocities happening in Gaza became something that like I said, he seemed to be a genuine person, most off. Did he make compromises? I'm sure he did. Probably lots of people do. But he seemed like mostly a genuine person. So maybe it's possible that his conscience, the Holy Spirit said, you can't keep ignoring this. So eventually he started to entertain these ideas. And the more he started to entertain these ideas, he had to speak openly about it. And when he did, they attacked him. And I'm not talking about September 10th. I'm talking about that people were ripping him for platforming anti-Semites and all that kind of stuff. I think you could see it. You could see it in his face. You could see that he looked really hurt by that. And then he started talking more about it. He actually, interesting enough, was talking about that what he has really been kind of influential on is because he's going to college campuses is the culture war. Well, who's funding the counterculture? It's high power. It's very prominent Jewish organizations. And he spoke on that. And he started to see, and he was talking with Tucker about it, how maybe they're going to stop funding BLM and all this kind of gender ideology stuff. He was talking about that. Again, so I didn't listen to Charlie Kirk often, but obviously you're aware enough. If you're paying attention, his clips come up and you'll hear about it. And it's noteworthy that he was starting to switch a little bit. Now, what was really interesting, very interesting, is that 2 days before the shooting, I want to say this might be hearsay, because I didn't actually look this up, but this is what I was told. So he did a podcast with Ben Shapiro 2 days before the shooting. And so he was saying, hey, we've questioned the media about all kinds of things, and all the pandemic and all that kind of stuff, and he's questioning about different wars. And he asked Ben Shapiro, is it time to question the media about their narrative with Israel? And Ben Shapiro's face was just it's like his big eyebrows went up, and it was just like he kind of shook his head like, what did he just say? And then he followed it up with saying, how do you respond, Ben, to them saying this is about anti-Semitism? No, not, oh, sorry. Wait, how do you respond to the critics of Israel saying this is ethnic cleansing? And he's saying, what do you see as a good result for this war in 5 years? And he was saying, and your response to ethnic cleansing. So he says ethnic cleansing 2 times in a very short period of time. And I was like, dang, Ben Shapiro probably was big mad getting asked about that. And that's the stuff. Those are legitimate questions. They're absolutely legitimate. And it does not make Charlie Kirk an anti-Semite. It's like this guy's trying so hard to not come off as one that I think that's why he was getting clowned on by guys like me, guys like Elijah Schaefer and Rift TV. And that was crazy too, is like that Elijah Schaefer knew him. I mean, I'm on the set with this guy who actually shared a stage with Charlie Kirk and did events with him. And he's getting emotional. He's welling up and he's starting to rant. And man, there was just that emotion in that room was thick. And so, yeah, it's absolutely crazy. It's like, yeah, the Charlie Kirk is bending over backwards to try not to be probably as edgy as some of us. Some of us, like, I guess we just don't care. But I mean, like, again, you got to think like Charlie Kirk started doing this and he's kind of had this certain message. So it's hard for people to move, especially publicly, to say you're wrong about things. But it seemed like he was starting to come around. And that's why people think maybe, just maybe, there's some correlation to the timing of his untimely demise. I don't know. I mean, I'll play a video. I got this one video and I might put this. I got this today because this is about Lee Harvey Oswald 2.0. Now, this is from one of my favorite TikTok reporters, James Lee. Now check this out. So this is more details about it.
I want to take a second to issue a retraction in regards to the alleged killer of Charlie Kirk. We are being told that it was not an Israeli conspiracy. It was, according to the FBI, the act of a lone gunman named Tyler Robinson, a deranged lone gunman who just happened to have not one, but two patsies in the crowd. We are also now being told that it was his father, Matt Robinson, now hailed as the father of justice, who turned his son into the authorities. In a press conference shortly thereafter, FBI Director Kash Patel proudly announced that the suspect was apprehended in record time, quote, in less than 36 hours, 33 to be precise. According to CNN, a family member told investigators that Robinson had, quote, become more political in recent years, and that the authorities had also discovered anti-fascist messages engraved on the ammunition. Prime Minister Netanyahu went on Fox News, though, to claim that Charlie Kirk was assassinated by a combination of, quote, radical Islamists and ultra-progressives. Now, in terms of the murder weapon, the FBI stated that they found the shooter's rifle in the woods, fully assembled. And here is Robinson caught on CCTV footage making that getaway from the rooftop with said rifle. Yes, people have been telling me that the barrel can be disassembled in seconds, which he then put back together in the woods to hide it from authorities. So yeah, that's it. We got him. Now, no more questions, please. I want to take a second to issue
Yeah, so I don't know about you guys, but that story stinks to high heaven. That story is ridiculous. Yeah, that's interesting. So that this guy could have potentially disassembled this gun, but maybe he did, and maybe he reassembled it only to throw it in the woods later. What? Come on. I mean, that is crazy, but not as crazy as Netanyahu, right? Just like you can't even make this stuff up, that he blamed it on terrorists. Not only just terrorists, but Islamic terrorists. And also crazy liberal progressives. But seriously, Islamist terrorists? We've already you guys remember that movie? That movie called 9/11? That dog's not going to hunt anymore. I mean, it's like it really does seem like they've got one playbook. But I think most people now are starting to say that's idiotic. That's silly. I mean, and I would say that, man, talk about the time of the great noticing has arrived upon us, where people now, I was pretty shocked that there was so many people. And again, I'm not going to say I know who did it. I do not know who did it. And if they say this guy did it, I'm not even saying that this guy did not pull the trigger. But the one thing that I will push back about is that there's no I do not I'm not saying there's no chance, but I do not believe that this guy acted alone. I don't believe that Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone either. I think when you're going to do something like this, it's hard to believe that this is some random person who just didn't like Charlie Kirk's politics. That I just cannot believe that. And I was saying last night that when they catch somebody, and they will catch somebody, that's what they'll say. They'll say this person acted alone, just like Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone. These kind of people that, like, we're supposed to believe that this person was hated Charlie Kirk's policies so much, or his ideology, his politics so much, that this guy would throw his life away for because he doesn't like Charlie Kirk. I mean, I was saying this, and I've been saying this the last couple of days because I guess from my perspective, yeah, Charlie Kirk seems kind of milk toast. He does. I I believe I was wrong to say that because from our perspective, people further right than Charlie Kirk, we would say that the things that Charlie Kirk say are just kind of main, like almost like Fox News talking points. It does not seem edgy. It does not seem dangerous. But I'll give him a lot more credit than that. I believe that Charlie Kirk, because the audience and the people he was trying to reach are the exact same people that obviously the elites are trying to reprogram. And so Charlie Kirk is kind of the tip of the spear at college campuses because they want the kids. They want to get the kids' minds right. Not right, you know what I mean. They want to get them wrong up here. They want to reprogram young minds, especially if they came from suburbia. And so Charlie Kirk was kind of like trying to stop that. And I think obviously he was doing a pretty good job with it. I mean, Charlie Kirk has done thousands of these things. And if you really think about it, Charlie Kirk was a Zionist. Maybe he was starting to move to not be one. And just think about that. So what if Charlie Kirk flipped and started to become more like Tucker Carlson? Or what if he started to become like, worse yet, what if he was like Nick Fuentes eventually? And so you think about it. I was just thinking about this is that the reason that they wanted to ban TikTok, I believe, we got good evidence of this, that the real reason they wanted to ban TikTok was not because of China and spying. It was about the fact that young people, the Zoomers, were watching the horrors of war on their phones every day. And you know what they thought about that? They thought, I don't like Israel. And we had my senator, and I forgot the other guy's name, but they said they could not get the TikTok ban passed until October 7th. Now, what does the TikTok ban in China have to do with October 7th? It doesn't have anything to do with October 7th. If you're talking about China. But if you got it passed after October 7th, maybe it's because what I'm saying is correct, that they didn't want the young generation to not support Israel and be screaming free Palestine. Because the lefties already don't like Israel. You know, like at least the left-wing progressives, we know that the people in the government, AIPAC pays both sides. But we're talking about like the liberal progressives on college campuses. So Charlie Kirk, he was trying to keep the right-wing conservatives into Zionism. But if he changed his stance on Israel, that would have been massive. Now, it's never going to happen. Is that convenient for somebody? I'm just saying. Like, I'm not saying, but I'm just saying. You guys know what I mean. It's like, what would have happened if a guy like Charlie, if they'd have lost Charlie Kirk as being kind of a mouthpiece for Zionism? It was a big deal. And I think that's the thing that, like, guys like me, guys like lots of people on the internet who are definitely anti-Zionists and can see what everybody else can see about what's happening in Gaza and not support that, then we are not moving probably the needle with the young people too much. But Charlie Kirk had a massive voice on college campuses. Love him or hate him, he was definitely moving the needle. And that's why he's no longer with us. I don't know, guys. I just really think that I think that the main message here is that if you want to be conspiratorial, the thing that you should really be looking for is not whether this thing was real or fake. What you really need to be looking for is what comes next. Because that's the Hegelian dialect. It's like who's blamed and then what kind of legislation or what kind of new security or protection or new laws they're going to put in they're going to make us safe. Is it the Palantir stuff? Is this idea of pre-crime? Like literally like that movie Minority Report, where they're going to be combing tweets and they're going to say, ooh, we got a threat here and we're going to neutralize this threat before they take out your favorite podcaster. I think that's what we need to be looking for. Because I think that if anything, for one, I think that the goal is to cause more division, which makes sense. The other point is probably for people like, probably like Elijah Schaefer, maybe even people like me, is to say, dang, if they take out Charlie Kirk for his opinions, what do they think about my opinions? Now, of course, my audience, though you guys are the best, is not as big as Charlie Kirk's. But still, I mean, you could imagine that if you get unalived in the way that he did publicly, it sends a message not to Charlie Kirk. It sends a message to other people. Because if you wanted to take out Charlie Kirk, you could have done it in secret. But they did not want to do it in secret. They wanted everyone to get the message. And I don't know exactly who that was pointed at, but I imagine there's people probably in that same space that Charlie Kirk's in, that if you're thinking about turning on us, beware. Beware. I'm sure some people got that message. I mean, it was interesting. And we talked about, again, I talked about this on, so the new JT's mixtape, which is up on Patreon right now, will be out on Monday. We talked about it. So Harrison Smith, I guess he works for InfoWars. He posted a month ago that Charlie Kirk was worried. Like he had a source that he was worried that if he turned on Israel, they would kill him. He tweeted that a month ago. And then September 10th happened. I mean, it makes sense. It makes sense. And I don't want to be one of those people to say my first instinct is Israel did it. But the more you're kind of looking into things, it's like the Epstein stuff. And that was another thing. I think Kirk was eventually saying that Mossad and Epstein, he was making the Epstein-Mossad connection. So as safe as I kind of thought Kirk was being, he was speaking more openly about these kind of things. I don't know, guys. I mean, so that's pretty much all I had to say about that, was just that I feel like that I don't shy away from the term conspiracy theorists because I try to be as honest as I can about who I am. And I do like looking into conspiracies. But obviously, at first and foremost, I'm a follower of Christ. And I feel like that you can be right and you can still be wrong. So that's kind of my message, is the fact that I could be wrong today. It could be all fake. It could be all AI. It's not. It's not, though. But I could be wrong. And later I might apologize that I got it wrong, like I got the Trump thing wrong. But I think where I'm right is the fact that I'm not going to be so quick to try to be right when people are shedding real tears, people are really actually grieving, and you're not going to reach people. You're just going to look weird. You're going to look callous. You're not really going to look like you represent Jesus well when somebody's grieving and you say, that was fake. And then they'd be like, okay, how do you know it was fake? Well, look at his rings. Look, the rings changed fingers and blah blah blah. And look, his shirt did this weird thing. And you're like, okay, so is he alive? Can you show me that he's alive then? No, you can't do that. So those people, you'll never reach those kind of people when you talk like that. Now, there might be a time and a place where you can present these ideas with, like, I think this was kind of weird, but the truth is, we don't know. Again, like I said, I think for all intents and purposes, whether, let's just say, I'll humor you guys for a second, let's just say it was fake. Charlie Kirk is not coming back. He's not coming back. So you won't be able to produce this person. So for all intents and purposes, people saw what they saw and they believe he's dead. I believe that he was dead. So I think sometimes it's like we need to be a voice of reason. It's good to have a healthy skepticism. And you can also research these ideas without barfing them out all over the internet for everyone to see right away. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can wait. You can wait till it settles down a little bit to present these ideas. But man, how quick people were to say, this is fake. You guys are idiots for believing this, blah, blah, blah. Oh, you're not a real truther. And it's like, my truth is Jesus Christ. So I know that I need to represent him first and foremost. My goal is not to have the hottest take and to be the wildest conspiracies that reptilians from the inner earth did it, or Charlie Kirk is, I don't know, he's somewhere else. I don't know. I mean, I think that from my perspective, it's just that if you love your brother and your sister, if you love your neighbor, you're not going to try to turn them off like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not going to reach people like that. You know, it's kind of is about being, like Paul said in Corinthians, you kind of need to be all things to all people. You kind of need to know when to share. You need to know when to shut up. You know what it also says, and what Solomon said in the Proverbs, even fools seem wise when they shut up. Even when they stop talking, they seem wise. Some people need to think about that. You sound a lot smarter when you don't say anything. When you're picking that day, you're picking yesterday, the day before, and today to have this hot conspiracy take. I don't think that necessarily, again, I'm not going to judge your heart, but I'm saying that if I can leave anybody with anything today, is the fact that the emotions are real. People's emotions are their nerves are very tender right now. People are very, very moved by this. And this guy proclaimed Christ, and I would be the last person to say that, oh, well, he did the Freemason hand sign, so he wasn't a real Christian. I believe he was a real Christian. Again, we don't have to agree about everything for me to believe that he was a real Christian. So if we lost a brother in Christ, somebody lost a husband, 2 children lost a father, somebody lost a son, that's where you, like, I mean, I feel like that as a person with a heart, that should be your first thought, not that it's fake, then we can all be mad later if we find out it was fake, because my emotions were real at the time and they're real now. And this is exactly why I did this today and why I did it on the member side, because I trust you guys, and I wasn't trying to do this to try to get people to subscribe to my channel, get more members. I was really just trying to say this because I'm not trying to monetize this. I didn't want people to say, I didn't want to put up like a thumbnail with Charlie Kirk on it, and I didn't want to be somebody like that. And I wanted to just be able to speak honestly, openly and honestly about this. And I think that the people in this community, I think you get what I'm saying. And I think that, yes, you know what we all need to do, and I'm including myself in this. We need to push away from the internet for a couple of days. Like, at least I had to for a couple of days, because I'm like, I don't want to be taken advantage of like I feel like I have been. Like I said, I feel like that this is energy harvesting. This was bothering me this was bothering my spirit so much to go on X and then hear like the craziest, wildest left wing take of people celebrating this tragedy, or the hottest conspiracy take, or the dumbest takes like Netanyahu saying terrorists did it. All it's doing is making me frustrated and sick to my stomach. And I feel like that, I don't know. I feel like I don't feel like I'm alone. I feel like people in the chat are getting what I'm saying. What do you guys think? Do you guys think that do you think I'm being too dramatic about this? Or do you guys think that, have I been duped like the Trump thing? Or it's just this kind of like the natural reaction that, I don't know, a Christian or just a human being might have when you see something this sick come across your feed? Just, I don't know, guys. What do you guys think? You're with me? Thank you. Thank you. I feel like I knew that the people here would get it. They would get what I'm saying. And yeah, I think that we need as Christians to be a voice of reason. We should have a calming influence on people. Oh, and I'll just say this, and as we approach an hour, I'll probably bounce off here in a second. This was really cool. And again, this is not, I don't think this is about me, but it was really interesting. So I go on that show I was talking about earlier. So I had the opportunity to do a live stream right during all this stuff, when all this stuff is breaking with Rift TV. So Elijah Schaefer, he's a Christian. He's a little edgy, like I said. If you guys know who I'm talking about, he's edgy, and a lot of people on the set were a bit edgy. But they all proclaim Christ. So again, I believe they're Christians. But Elijah Schaefer, at the end of the show, he was saying, I'm not overly spiritual. And he was kind of even saying, like, it's interesting that you're here for this episode or for this live stream. And he gave me the opportunity to close with prayer on that stream. And I don't believe in coincidences. From my perspective, like, at least the content creator perspective, it's like, this is not good because, like, I don't know what I'm going to say. And this is scary to me to be put in this position to not talk about the mud flood or the short season or whatever else we were going to talk about, Nephilim or something like that. This is difficult because, me, I'm the kind of guy who likes to joke around. I thought I would have a good rapport with these guys. But when I got put in that position to not even be able to process what I just watched, I was like, oh, this is not good. But then I was given the opportunity to pray for everyone afterwards. Pray for, the people who witnessed that tragedy, obviously the people the most directly affected by it, his family, and then pray for our nation and the people here. And I thought, I don't believe in coincidences like that. I think that God had me there that day for that reason. When I said it was supposed to be the day before, and if it was an hour earlier or whatever, we wouldn't have talked about that. But we talked about it because it just so happened that that was exactly when I was supposed to be there. I mean, I said it's cool, it's humbling. It's like obviously trying to take it all in. It's a lot to process. This is like a lot of stuff that's happened in my life where I was saying that at the very least, like, my life is not boring now. I mean, to do multiple podcasts and be put in these positions, it's scary to me sometimes, because even I said it's scary to me to do this full time. Just basically just doing this, just taking the leap of faith. But it's like God has already put me in these kind of positions to potentially have an impact on people. And I hope that I was maybe not as funny or as smooth as, I mean, I'm not really all that smooth doing podcasts anyways, but I was like, my critical eye of my own self, I'm like, I wasn't that good on that show. And I probably won't watch it again. But I was there to kind of be a voice of reason there. And I was trying to say these are spiritual issues. And then, yeah, I was trying not to take the bait to have a hot take or to blame certain people about it. And it was just more about that I was hoping that I had a voice of reason and I had a godly message for people, and to not fear and to still speak truth in love, and to to let the Holy Spirit guide us through these issues. So, you know what? And as I said, as I prayed for them and that podcast, I do want to I want to just close with prayer. We didn't open with prayer, but I want to pray, and I pray that today seeds will be planted in people, and hopefully the things I said would maybe resonate, and maybe I will make this open to the public so they can see it later. But I just appreciate you guys again for not just for supporting me like financially, but actually just being somebody I could talk to right now, because I trust you guys. So let's just pray. All right, Heavenly Father, Lord, we just come before your throne humbly today, and we just ask you, Lord, your blessing, your comfort, and we just pray for strength when these times get so dark, and sometimes it just doesn't make sense, and we maybe give the enemy too much credit, Lord, but we know that you're sovereign, and we know that you're in control, and Lord, that we just pray for a spirit of grace and comfort and love to come upon this nation, and we even pray for our enemies, Lord. We pray, Lord, that they will come to see the light, and we just pray that hearts and minds can be changed, and we just pray that, God, we know that you can use all things together for your good, because we love you and we're called to your purpose, Lord. Even these horrible things, especially these horrible things, we just pray, Lord, that no matter what, that you will use these things for the benefit of your kingdom and your children who are we. And we just pray, Lord, that just regardless of what comes next, Lord, that we put our full faith and trust in your Son, and we just pray that we walk in faith. And I just pray a blessing upon the people listening today, and we just pray for seeds to be planted, seeds to be watered, and we pray for your kingdom to continue to grow. We ask these things in Jesus' name. Amen. Well, I appreciate you guys, and I would say that yes, I can't say that enough. But anyways, guys, I hope you guys have a beautiful weekend. I'm not sure if we're recording Ancient Angels tomorrow, because I think Brian might be traveling, but he might be back. So if so, we will definitely connect. And otherwise, I will probably see you in the live chat on Monday evening for JT's mixtape episode number 47. So until then, guys, God bless y'all. Love you. See you next time.